I've really been looking forward to this video because it's all about pizzas, and we'll take a closer look at double O flour, which is perfect for making Napoletana or Neapolitan style pizza, and good old all-purpose flour. Can you use all-purpose flour to make a great Napoletana pizza, or do you have to get bread or double O flour to get that perfect consistency? And if not, then let's look at what's the difference. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this video is I have this favorite brand of double O flour, which I usually get at my local grocery store. And double O basically just is an Italian classification of how finely milled the flour is, how fine the actual grains of flour themselves are. And it's actually also made from a softer wheat variety. Anyways, so when it's out of stock, I started using either bread flour or all-purpose flour that I had at home, and I still was able to make some delicious pizzas. Pizzas are awesome, and the pizzas did turn out really well. Now, keep in mind, I am making these in my home oven with the broiler, 500 Fahrenheit, the max that my oven can reach, with baking stones or baking steels in there to really help keep that hot temperature. There's no way that's going to bake at 800-900 Fahrenheit that it usually bakes at for a real Napoletana pizza. So anyways, let's make these pizzas and find out what really sets them apart. So the basic idea behind both the recipes will be largely the same. For both of them, we have 2 batches of Polish, which is going to be our starter, which is going to add a lot of flavor and complexity to our pizza and its crust, the main part of a pizza. And I am referring to the Pizza Bible, my favorite pizza book out there, and I'm going to be making the Napoletana style pizza. So once the Polish is ready, it's going to be about 18 hours, then we're going to start making the actual dough. And what I want to focus the most on with this experiment is to see how do both these pizzas turn out at the end. What texture differences are there? What flavor differences are there? Is the crust for the double O crustier than the regular old flour? Or is the all-purpose flour just bready? And if I had to pick a pizza to have for the rest of my life, which one would I pick? Which one would I recommend? That's going to help us answer if we can actually replace double O flour with all-purpose flour to make Napoletana style pizzas. Now, typically double O flour has lesser protein content than all-purpose flour. Usually it's in the range of 8 to 12% for double O, but 10 to 12 when it comes to all-purpose. And because generally double O has lesser protein, it doesn't form as much gluten as a dough made with all-purpose flour. So something made with all-purpose flour will just be a bit more chewier. And the dough itself may be a bit more elastic, which is actually great if what you're looking for in a pizza is a nice, dense kind of crust. But if you instead want a nice, soft, fluffy inside and crust on the outside, then the double O flour is your pick. And also the double O flour will result in a crust that's just more delicate in general, and much more lighter. It's better for your gut, I guess, because of that. That's just my guess though, so don't quote me on that. But on the other hand, the all-purpose flour will result in a dough that's much more robust essentially. And that essentially is due to the all-purpose flour resulting in higher gluten development. And usually when I go out and have pizza, I prefer crusts that are just light, airy, soft, and crispy on the outside, rather than something that I have to like chew, something like a dry Domino's crust, you know. Now the doughs are essentially ready, and once you've kneaded it by hand, then you want to let them rest for about 20 minutes, after which you can portion it out. I'm going to divide each batch of these doughs into 3 portions. 4 I'll keep for rest, and 2 for comparison today. And you want to kind of seal it really well so that nothing dries out the dough. And I'm going to leave it in the fridge for about 24 hours. You can push it to 48 hours, and the total time with the Polish will be close to 72 hours. And that just adds so much flavor to that crust. That's, I think, the best and the most important part of a pizza. Now my oven has been heating at 500 Fahrenheit for about an hour. There's a stone at the bottom to finish the crust and a steel on the top. And you also want to take the doughs out about an hour before you're going to start working with them. Get that chill off and just make it easier to work with. And off the bat, you can see that just forming and patting out the dough made with all-purpose flour is just a tiny bit more work. There's a bit more resistance. But I'm telling you, when I did the same thing for the double O flour, because it's just softer, it just spread out much easier. And timing is always tricky to get two pizzas ready at the same time, but I'm going to try my best. So I'm just adding a quick homemade sauce over here, then topping it up with some mozzarella. And yeah, this here is Italian sweet sausage. It's going to be amazing on this pizza. And under the broiler, pizza is going to go in, and you want to rotate that 180 degrees about 30 to 40 seconds in and pop any pimples or bubbles that come out of the crust. Now, unfortunately, some of those bubbles on the all-purpose flour pizza, it just stayed. I try to pop it, I try to be quick about it, but don't mind it. It's not going to affect the texture that much. There are other sides to the crust, and we can do the experiment with that side. And then as you finish off that first pizza on the bottom stone, I'm going to add in the double O pizza on the top side of the steel. And while you finish that first pizza on the bottom stone, I'm going to add in the double O pizza on the top and start cooking that in the same way. And I'm going to let that cook as well. And you can kind of see straight away that the crusts look a tiny bit different. Now, granted, it's possible that I patted them in a different way, and maybe I did not pat out as much air out of the all-purpose dough than I did with the double O dough. Fine. But the proof is in the actual texture, in the actual eating. And at the end, it's going to be the texture, the flavor, the crustiness that's going to really determine which pizza is a better one. But something else that is kind of different between double O and all-purpose flour is the leoparding. And that's just the brown spots all around the top. And because double O flour's low protein content results in lesser gluten, the dough itself is softer. And cooking it quickly under the broiler just gives it a much better pattern of these spots all around the pizza. Now the same thing does happen with the all-purpose flour pizza as well, but it's just not as prominent and as, I guess, pretty as the double O pizza, because there's just more gluten. It just takes a bit more to cook that pizza to look the same as the double O pizza. And that essentially is the stronger gluten development at play here. And honestly, both these pizzas are looking incredible, and I don't think I would mind at all if I picked either of these pizzas if I was blindfolded. You cannot go wrong here. The pizzas are tasty, but what I did notice is the crustiness of the double O pizza is much closer to what I enjoy in something like a Belgian loaf of bread or a sourdough. It's like very nice, soft, fluffy inside and crusty outside. But when it comes to the pizza made with all-purpose flour, let's talk about something like Wonder Bread. Okay, Wonder Bread, I don't want to diss on Wonder Bread. Let's talk about rye bread. Rye bread is tasty, right? So rye bread, it's delicious, it's a little bready, it's a little more dense, but it's still tasty. And I guess at the end of the day, if you like something like a rye bread, then you're gonna love something like the pizza made with the all-purpose flour. Like my wife, she preferred the pizza made with the all-purpose flour because we all love Domino's, Pizza Hut. And those breads, those crusts are bready, they're chewy. But if you like something more like a ciabatta, a baguette, then you want to go for the pizza made with double O flour. You're not really going to miss anything if you don't care about either or. You really don't have much to lose because it's the techniques used in the recipe that's made like this. There's going to be so much flavor in it regardless. It just comes to the nitty-gritty. It's like tomato and tomato. Now, I'm sure there's a debate that's going to be happening in the comments, and I'm sure there are different opinions down there. And I want to know if you prefer pizza exclusively made with double O, or if you don't care, if you can use bread flour or all-purpose flour or something else. Let me know down below. But let's just agree on one thing. Pizzas are awesome. I'll see you on the next one.